In this video, we are going to talk about subtracting fractions with the element of borrowing required to finish off the problem. What I have here is each problem set up vertically so that I can do the subtraction a little bit more easily. But if you'll notice right now, I don't have any of the common denominators in any of these problems. So before we begin, we can't talk about what we're going to borrow or what we're going to use until we have things put into the same common denominators. So for a moment, pause the video and see if you can't find the common denominators and the new fractions. So in the red are now the exact same problems and fractions, but with, again, everything made into the lowest common denominator and the new fractions. So I'm going to start with this first one here, where I'm looking to subtract the whole numbers and the fractions. And a mistake that a lot of people make is they decide they're going to, hey, I'm going to subtract 11 minus 6, but then I'm going to subtract 11 minus 4 in my numerators. And that's not the way it works. As with everything, we are going to subtract straight down every time. So what we're going to do is we are going to have to borrow. So taking 4 from 11, I can't do that. So what we're going to do is we're now going to take and subtract each one. So we have to borrow from here and we make this into 10. Now from here, what we usually do in other subtractions is we simply add a 10 to there, but I'm not breaking this into 10 pieces. This is a fraction. What we have to do is we have to break it into the same number of pieces that we're talking about. And in each of these situations, what we're doing is we are breaking it into twelfths. I've got 4 out of 12, 11 out of 12, so that one whole that I'm breaking in, I'm also going to break that into twelfths. 12 over 12. Think about it as if we're breaking money. I wouldn't break it into quarters unless I'm dealing with quarters. I wouldn't break it into dimes unless I'm dealing with dimes. So in this situation, now instead of 11 wholes and 4 pieces, now I've got 10 whole values, and then one of these got broken up. So now instead of taking 4 minus 11, I'm now taking all of this, the 4 and the 12, so that's 16 pieces, and then I'm subtracting 11. So 16 subtract 11 is going to be 5 out of 12. And one of those whole numbers was broken, so now I'm not 11 minus 6, but 10 minus 6, which is 4. So every time when I can't take this top numerator and subtract it, I'm going to simply borrow from here, and then I'm going to add whatever this denominator is. Remember, any whole number can be broken into anything. I can have 4 out of 4, I can have 7 out of 7. As long as the top matches the bottom, I can have whatever I want. But again, I'm going to choose whatever the denominator we're talking about. Because if I added 5 out of 5, that's not an easy thing to add to this mix. So why don't I choose something that is easy, which is to simply say that same denominator over itself. So before I finish this, so this is out of 40. So this would be adding 40 out of 40 to that particular number. So going back to this second problem, so I'm no longer trying to take 7 minus 21. I'm trying to take 28 minus the 19. I said 21, I meant I'm not trying to take 7 minus 19, I'm trying to take 28 minus 19. Again, you're adding this whole number, this numerator, to the stuff you already had. So 28 minus 19 is going to be 9 21sts, but now instead of 26 minus 5, I've got 25 minus 5. Okay. Going to the third problem, we already borrowed. Oh, I didn't cross out, I just added that. Goodness gracious, I have to tell me that we're taking that whole number out of there. So now instead of having 16 minus 37 as I'm going down, now I've got all of this, the 16 and the 40. So I've got 56 minus 37, which is, don't want to write in a highlighter, I want to write in pen. So we've got 19 over 40. So that's 56 minus 37, and now I have 4 remaining. So here are 2 new problems, and again I want you to pause the video, set them up vertically, and find the common denominators for each one. Okay, so these problems are set up vertically, they have common denominators, we're ready to go. And when we're going to when we're going to subtract, we have to make sure that we can subtract from top from the bottom, or bottom from the top. So we're staying at 7 and we have to take away 15. I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow. We're going to take this down to 7, and once again we are talking out of 35, so that whole gets to be broken into 35 over 35. Once again, the number can be whatever you want it to be, but it has to be the same over the same. 5 over 5, 6 over 6, or in over this case, 14 over 14, because that's what my denominator is. So when we're doing this, now I have to subtract. 7 and 35 together, I had 7 pieces and I broke this into 35 more, so that's 42. 42 minus 15 will now give us 27. And then 7 minus 4 gives us 3. So the next one, again, we're trying to put 2 and 14, oops, wanted to highlight that, not cross it out. So we got 2 and 14 now, the 2 plus the 14 out of 14, and then we're subtracting off 7. So we've got 2 and 14, which is 16, excuse me. Subtracting off 7 means I have 9 out of 14 left. And we can't do this without borrowing from that value. So we can't just add a whole without taking it from our pile of whole numbers. So 7 minus 6 is 1.